I want to be there. I volunteer. I understand. Here's your contract. Read it, sign it, agree with it. This is how we're going to live here. If you don't agree with it, then why would you even want to live there? So it is a way to bring the like-minded people together. So for me, it's based on libertarian concepts, right? So the non-aggression principle. So if you're going to move there, you have to, the one thing that you can't all agree on, from what I've gathered, is there's no aggression. We can't fight. We're going to get along. And it's something that you are voluntarily agreeing to their concepts of what their community is going to be like.
Welcome back to another episode of the Age of Reinvention: Eco-Living, Free Cities, and Intentional Communities podcast. I'm host Emily Bron, and today we have not a standard interview, but a conversation topic with returning guest Charlotte Tweed from Liberty Travel Coach Company. Have you ever wondered what living in a truly free society would be like? Or at least, did you consider a community of like-minded and freedom-loving people? Get ready to satisfy your curiosity, because we are diving deep into the world of Free Private City Foundation and eco-living intentional communities with our special guest, Charlotte. Charlotte from Mexico and I, currently from Canada, both participated online in the International Liberty in Our Lifetime Live conference, which took place in Prague from November 1st to November 3, 2024, just a week ago. It was my second online participation in this yearly event, and I was personally happy to explore new, exciting projects and new names of the creators and community developers working worldwide under the umbrella of the Free City Foundation. The Liberty in Our Lifetime conference in Prague was an absolute treasure trove of insights about free cities, eco-living, and intentional communities. And we will discuss today our impressions, me and Charlotte, from the meeting, and dive into some of the most captivating presentation to inform you, my listeners and followers, about what is new in the world of innovative living and free economic zone development concepts. Here are what we will exploring, just in general, no time for details, but the latest developments in the Free Cities movement, inspiring new living projects from around the globe, including seasteading villages development on the sea and ocean, practical tips for enhancing your personal freedom. Plus, we will uncover our thoughts and advice and what projects, in our opinion, to join and to find the communities of freedom-loving people to make such significant life changes. Whether you are seriously considering a move or just love learning about new living possibilities, this episode is packed with valuable information and insights. So let's embark on this enlightening journey together. Charlotte, welcome back to the Age of Reinvention podcast.
Thank you for having me, Emily. I'm glad to be back to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. And we both attended the Liberty on Our Lifetime conference in Prague online. We both wished that we would participate in live, but it didn't happen this year. Maybe we will meet each other first time in live next year. And I don't know where it's gonna be. They say, by the way, it was last time for Prague. Yeah, maybe they will move close to our America's locations.
Mexico.
I hope so. But what were your initial impressions and key takeaways from the event of this year?
There is so much information packed into 3 days, two days at the conference, and then they had the extra day. And so many speakers. I appreciate all the information, and sometimes it's overload. I have 6 pages of notes and more follow up I want to do and more connecting I want to do with the people heading up these projects and get to know them better. I would like to see more communities that are already people have inhabited, that people are living in. There's a lot of concepts and they're fantastic concepts, fascinating. I'd like to see a little more people in those concepts.
Absolutely agree. Because I believe both me and you actually considering to join one of the communities or maybe several in the different time period. And like with all respect, it's a lot of work, especially for people coming from different countries to navigate local legislation and probably some immigration and development issues they might face. So with all respect, they are on different stages of development, I would say. Yes.
Yes, I would agree. Yes. Some are very, it's just the idea, the concept. Some have started moving. So there are some projects that we'll touch on today that there are people living there. The population's small, but there are buildings that
Let's speak with details because, again, for people who may be even not familiar with the concept, but I repeated several times liberty on our lifetime because it's actually a tagline. It's ideas and meeting, gathering of people who really believe in liberty. But we're trying to segue now to the more kind of practical projects because there are many projects and they all interesting, but both me and you looking for concept as well as a real project, I would say, yes, or physical project. So what stood out to you the most?
I'm still very interested in Montelibro in Montenegro. They actually won the Intentional Community Award. So I liked that they did that this year. I thought that was a nice touch to do that, to recognize what people have done. It's a small community right now, but like you said, the services are there. There's buildings there. They have events there. So there is already a community uh, that is thriving, that is growing. So there is a place there that someone can move to. And even if not necessarily move right into that community, it is close enough to other cities within Montenegro that you can maybe move to the city if you're not interested in the small aspect. You want the bigger scale, more coffee shops, more restaurants, more architecture, that type of thing. You can live close by and still support the community in events they put on or shop with their.
I agree with you, and I like Tatiana. And I hope, I wish she will be in a couple of weeks providing more details. She invited to the podcast as well. And from my personal impression of Montenegro this year, like I see myself, but again, need to come again because I was not in a bar. The city that where they started the community actually, and now they building a little bit on a suburb. Bar, it's a city when I have already a couple of people that I know from Toronto. And yes, and I believe that Bar, it's pretty good place, connected, and there is even ferry from Bar to Bari in Italy. I remember when I was on Bari years ago, I was looking, and it was really funny for me that on other side there is a bar. It's similar, almost similar name. Um, but yes, they already building, they active, they young, most I would say different generations, but they might, and I believe they're attracting people now from several age groups. Yes, do you agree with that?
I agree. Yeah, and I would agree right now. It appears to be a younger population.
Yes, but actually, my view, I'm looking, trying to follow what are trends. This was a country. European Union and Montenegro is still considering to be part of the European Union. Some problems now. Germany is collapsing, so we will see what's gonna be with other countries. And Montenegro, it's too small to build their own economy. In some sense, it's good for people who are ready to be outside of the big political events or social life. They have enough of it. And I believe from migration perspective, it's all kind of fluid now. People coming, leaving, coming back. So in a couple of years, it will be more stable in many places because a lot of people in search, checking, like out, looking, considering young, elder one, where they can live. And I believe both me and you are of interest to serve these people and to help them to find the place which will be better match to the expectation. Yes. And I completely agree that Montelibero is kudos to them giving like step ahead in construction sense. What is your perception of other projects in different countries?
Other projects that were presented this year, there's Lieberstadt, which also has people, I guess we'll maybe stay on the topic where people are living right now, and we can move on to concepts that are up and coming. But Lieberstadt was discussed, which is, it's also a small community. I think it's about the same size population as Montelibero, really, or Montelibero, 20 some people they have now. But a completely different community as well, different climate, because Norway is going to be a lot more harsh of a climate than Montenegro is going to be. Montenegro is the Mediterranean climate. So that I think is a big factor for people there that may want to consider that. I know for me, it would be a big factor, the climate.
I cannot see myself like 4 hours from city because we need, especially when we are new in country and community, we need some even organization, some legal stuff to be connected with. Even we don't want, but we need connections with the cities and different companies and organizations. But now it's not about us. And yes, I believe that Montelibero is better positioned climate-wise, city-wise, even I would say for people from North America who used to the different life standards. No, you can live good, but it would be different. And sometimes we're looking for difference, but we are not prepared. We don't know how it will change our lifestyle. If we open for the changes and we will accept them positive way, it will be really very interesting journey of self-discovery. But let's go back. I can tell you that from the all projects and some of them I would listen again, the presentations. What I like that new communities and new projects join the movement. Do you remember one community that Germans built in Venezuela, Margarita Island?
Crypto City.
Yes. And so I understand that they're more oriented, like I didn't remember the names, but really they're more oriented for crypto communities, for people who are interested actually to work or to have a business or already have business in this direction. And even concept is interesting, and I hope I would visit maybe them one day. I'm more to the projects who I say for the normal people. No, you can coins, it's not defined like all in my life. Even I have it or I don't have. I understand importance of this parallel economy, I would say, but many people need something else. Yes? What would you say?
And Crypto City was quite different. The good thing about them as well, they are moving dirt, so there is action happening. But they are very selective. So they have to approve and vote on you if you're going to be accepted into the community.
But you know what? I agree with this aspect. Even Look, even in some community like condo living in Canada, or there are some rules that to accept new people, you need to go through some process, yes, of acceptance, and maybe to have interview with people, because it's a serious matter, specifically when you leave your country and you go to some island, say, to live with people that you might not have idea, or even you communicated with them online, but you should understand that you might have different interests, different cultural traditions and preferences. And just to say that you like freedom, which is okay, and liberty, and you don't like your other government ruling, it's okay, but it's not enough to live in harmony with other people. Yes.
Everybody has a different idea of what freedom is, what they're looking for. So that's why it's so nice to have all these different communities because they are all so unique. So you need to find the one that fits in with you and how you fit with it in with those people so that you follow the voluntarism concept. I want to be there. I volunteer. I understand. Here's your contract. Read it, sign it, agree with it. This is how we're going to live here. If you don't agree with it, then why would you even want to live there? So it is a way to bring the like-minded people together.
And by the way, I'm curious now, when you speak about voluntarism, which many people were mentioning, what do you mean for you?
So for me, it's based on libertarian concepts, right? So the non-aggression principle. So if you're going to move there, you have to, the one thing that you can all agree on from what I've gathered is there's no aggression. We can't, we can't fight. We're going to get along. And it's something that you are voluntarily agreeing to their concepts of what their community is going to be like. Is that how you understand it? Or how do you understand voluntarism?
I was born in Soviet Union, where voluntarism was part of our culture. I am familiar with volunteer work in Canada because as a new immigrant, I was going when I doing my first steps on Canadian market. Well, we need to, I learned, I knew that, and I work as a volunteer. What does it mean? You work by free. You just provide, you work just for company to get Canadian experience. It was the story of getting local experience. Even your experience might be way higher, but you need to understand how people are working here. But from the employer perspective, it's just free work for the benefit of the company, and just you look if you like this person or not. And but it's one type of volunteer work. And you're probably familiar yourself, like in the university and schools, and over the last years, it was promoted. A lot of volunteering works, and again, organizations are open and even promoting some free work, I would say this way. And for me, I understand, but living in community, again, like when you live in family, you are not, first of all, you are not writing contracts, I believe, but you do a lot of volunteer work with us and your family, yes? And you need to do it. And for me, I understood that living in community of, especially new community, it will be a lot of work that should be done, especially the first years probably. And you need to do it yourself or together with people, depending on your skills and level. And I was thinking myself, because one of the points that I was always was clear about, even after many years living in North American culture, like it is what it is, built in individualism, mostly, especially Americans, Canadians a little bit less, but and libertarian movement with all this respect built on individualism. So when I was thinking, I how North Americans no, because it's very important for people to be on the same page. Because even in definition, which are basic and important, like freedom, voluntarism, people might understand like different features of the community in society. Like for me, non-aggression principle, yes, it's a given. What is my voluntaristic ap- approach? Is it I agree with it? I understand volunteerism that you need to work sometimes together. You need to find time to get out of your probably home and work together with others. So I don't know. Spent many years on working in Soviet Union. We all we're working like on the agriculture, working on cleaning cities, and it was all with nice words about how free and democratic we are. Our people have a little bit different kind of approach, but for me, it's importance of definition, and I believe that each community should define it and clear on the website and probably later on the contract to specify what is a freedom, what is a volunteerism. And obviously, nobody would like to live. We all want peaceful, harmonious communities, but people are people. We have sometimes disagreements, and and you cannot throw out person after a month or two. Or I believe it will be a lot of interesting development. Yes. And I wish I'm looking after I realized how differently I understand freedom, and not only me, many of us, yes, and some other positions. And I took time to learn about anarchism. I learned it at school, and lately I look at this new kind of anarchist movements here and there. But for me, not all anarchists are libertarians, vice versa. And when people think that anarcho-capitalists are the same as anarcho-socialists, no way. Like for me, but even taking all these isms and words away, it should be, I believe, clear to people what this one or other community is about.
I agree. And even listening to people speak and talk, it's learning a whole new language again. Really, the terminology. So what does that mean? Most Canadians have never even heard the word libertarian. They don't know what it means. 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't know what a libertarian was. I had never heard of that before. I'd never heard of the Libertarian Party. What is it?
But I think in Canada, it exists in the United States. But we all learning. We learn a lot of things over the last 4 years, don't we? About government and about ruling. So we started to be more cautious, I would say, about wording and definition. And yes, and I believe it's a lot of learning curve for each of us. And sometimes people using the same words, but they have absolutely different ideas behind it.
Different definitions, even for democracy. I think its language has become so confusing, and they want us confused so that we can't make a decision. So it's trying to get your idea across or understand these concepts. How do I explain these towns and what they're doing for people to understand them? And sometimes I'll pick a word and go, yeah, commune comes to mind because that's something that somebody understands, but they're not really communes.
Why not? By the way, by some definition, living together.
So what's the definition of commune? When I think of commune, is it just a community of like-minded people living together that kind of live on their own, they live in their own parallel society? Or is it a community where they share everything, where your food is all shared? Is that like how to write commune? How to write community? They share everything. Nobody has their own bit. It's because the money is controlled by one person, right? So what do we mean even by the word commune?
It's a common ideas and agreement to live together again. And there were different examples of the common. Jesus Christ, it was the first common, what he created in Qumran, and his student with disciples and people who were interested in supporting his ideas. It was, I don't know about details, who was responsible for the budget and all this, but it's one type of the commune. A lot of commune we know in France, in Russia, like in Soviet Union, like in Israel, there were several times because it was a socialistic movement at the beginning. Very interesting examples like kibbutz. It was actually commune, and they were different. Until now, they're different, more kind of socialistic, more communistic, like capitalistic. But there are already historical working models. But I believe what eco living in free cities trying to create to take the best maybe pieces from the past, but to create economical model of future, would say, based on the mistakes or whatever observation of what is not working lately in, yes, in society. It's how I understand it. And obviously, because people are coming from different cultures and they have different understanding, or maybe they're very selected about what type of people in communities they would like to have members as a new members. For me, it's very interesting, but it's a lot of search and research for people who trying to guide to these communities themselves. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I would agree.
I was particularly fascinated by presentation of Patrick Schumacher, known architect, uh, who planned already city of Liberland, and it was, I believe, parametric urbanism, and he discussed it with Minister of Justice of Free Republic of Liberland. And I know that both of us became residents of this country. That's why I decided to discuss with you a little bit, because this conversation and they were speaking about metaverse, really building metaverse virtual city, which I was familiar with this concept before. It on their website, but I was expecting, and they were promising to build like physical community and metaverse because people are all over the world and it's convenient place to communicate, to discuss, kind of forum, but next level of technology. But for me, it appeared now that they're moving, at least at this period, more to the metaverse direction because, yes, the constructions that they started on physical island that they have between Serbia and Croatia, kind of not moving forward. They have some legal or whatever issues, and probably till they resolve it, they working on different. How you understand it?
Yeah, I think Croatia seems to be the biggest issue there, that Croatia doesn't want to recognize them. There are some people living in Liberland, but it's very rustic, I guess is the best way to say it. And they were putting up structures and those got taken down. And it does seem to have stalled out. And I also got that from Michael, the Minister of Justice for Liberland. Yeah, that they really focused on the metaverse. And I think that's more their way to build a community at this point and to keep the dream alive and to keep it moving forward and to keep people interested and interactive. Again, it's not for everybody. I'm looking for physicality. I'm still a little bit hesitant with certain technologies and that type of thing. And I like to stay in reality. So that's my view on it. But I'm sure some people would find it extremely interesting and be very interested in the metaverse. I'm not.